week in a commitment program that we're doing, committing to ourselves spiritually and radiating that out, being rays of hope in the world. And so today's color is yellow. This is gold. It's not beige. This is gold, which is in the family of yellow. So I've gotten some criticism from my color choices, but that's pretty good. So we are right here. And so if you haven't received one of these posters, there are more posters in the family room. So you can get those after, and go ahead and get some of the little rays that we're posting. So the yellow ray is today. So I'm going to share with you some slides, and we got another video, and we've got all sorts of highly technical training tools. And so I'm going to bring up the first slide, which is our affirmation. In your program, you will see a yellow sheet. Okay, so this is on the second side at the very bottom. This is our affirmation for the week. And so I'll go ahead and say it, and then we'll repeat it together. I am a light in this world, and I'm on. Ready? I am a light in this world, and I'm on. Yeah. And so, if you're not on, we're going to turn the switch today. We're going to turn you on. Actually, you'll have to decide that. No one can turn anyone on. You have to turn yourself on. So, you had a homework assignment. And I see you passed with flying colors. So those of you that sent Valentine cards to Joel, congratulations, you passed the first test. You know who that is, don't you? 40 years ago? That's Joel. Okay, so his homework assignment, he's got to get strong enough to do that again now. So he loved the cards. Now, how many of you did something unique and special for your significant other that you never did before? That was the other part of the homework. Raise your hand if you did that. Not enough hands went up. I hope you do better on this next one. Now, you remember that I made a request if anyone had any Isaac Perlman tickets, that I was loving to do that as something different with my significant other. You remember that? Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? Oh, you already did it? Oh, good. They're working for me back there. So, Linda and I got to see Isaac Perlman. Wow. How many of you have seen him before? Wow. If you haven't, it's amazing. So we went. And I will tell you, I'm just going to kind of set the stage on how it unfolded. So we got there early. And glad we did, because there was a sign outside of the doors to get in that said, you know, if you are late, you're going to have to wait until after his first piece. And so you have to pretty much stand out in the hallway and miss that. And so I'm glad we got there early. We got there early, and there's all this murmuring in there, you know how it is as people are settling in. And I'm looking around, and I look on the stage, and it's the most unassuming setting. So there's no big poster or anything, or banner on the back of the stage. All there is a piano, a chair next to the piano, and the piano stool. No microphones, no speakers, no fanfare, nothing. And so that's what's sitting there. And then it's getting close to showtime. And the director for the Art Center comes out, and she gives a couple of her announcements, upcoming events and that. And then she shared an announcement that I'm going to get to later on in the lesson. And then pretty much when she was done with her business, and she's the only one that had a mic, she left the stage with her mic, and then there was complete silence for at least a minute. I mean, there wasn't a pin that was dropped anywhere in this auditorium. Complete and utter silence. And then a poised piano player started walking across the stage to the piano, followed by his page turner, who sat in the chair next to him. And so they're now poised and ready. And then Isaac rolls out. So I know he had polio when he was younger, and now the only way he can get around is in his rolling chair. And so he rolls up to the piano to the applause of the people, and then, without a word, just begins playing. Just begins playing. The most beautiful music, without any amplification to distort any of the music, just echoing off the walls. And that music you were hearing, if you came here early, that was Isaac playing in the background. And he did that for about an hour without a single word spoken. And then it was intermission time, and they just left. They gestured to the audience who were standing in ovation, and then they left. And then we had intermission. And I figured, well, when he comes back on, he's going to share, because I heard he was humorous and heard he loves to talk with the audience and all of that, and figured he was going to do that after intermission. Didn't happen. So he came back on. Again, they went right into their music. And they played the complete set that was listed in our program. And then when they were complete, they gestured to the audience and they left the stage again. To a standing ovation. Some people were even starting to pack up their things, thinking, this would be it. They came back on. They did 3 encores. Wow. Each one more magnificent than the previous. And there he started talking between each one without a microphone, just in his normal voice, and just, he's the funniest man. And he loves what he does, you can tell it. I share this story because it's significant for what we're here for today. Isaac has learned how to shine his light in a bright way. He has learned to channel the source energy that we all have access to. It just comes out in beauty. So it's kind of like this. Go ahead and put the dark slide and bring the lights down. This is a highly technical training tool. It does not pass any codes. Tom, I think I saw you out there. Do not report me, please. And so what Isaac has learned to do is somehow he gets himself into the spirit of what he is about. Somehow, right before playing, when he gets out there, he is ready to just turn on. And it's a marvel to watch a master in action, how they can just turn on. Joel is the same way. He's able to turn on. So what happens when, for whatever reason, we're not feeling like a bright light? We've got some fears of something that, we feel we should do it, but, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the embarrassment. I don't know if it's worth the energy. What will people think? Some doubts about our own abilities. I sure can't play the violin like that. Why should I even bother? I mean, here we have in our midst, we've got Jimmy, who is a master. He could play with Isaac. I could see him up there. He's able to turn on. He's able to turn on. There's times where Jimmy will show up and someone won't have the music. They'll have forgotten the music. He turns on. In a couple minutes, he's got the piece down and he's ready to go. Master. Joel has shown me that through the way he's been. I met Joel in 1987. And in 1987, I was an engineer. And I love that Robin asked, if there's any way you want to give, you feel compelled to give, serve. It's through serving that I realized my gifts, my true gifts, were not engineering. And it's in this place that I discovered what they were. So I became a board president, did a couple other programs, like an ambassador program that we started, went to the lay minister program, changed my career from engineering to human engineering, I guess I'll call it. Engineering of the human mind and human heart. Something, a switch flipped inside me. And so each of us, another highly technical training tool. This probably comes out of the 60s as far as the technology goes. It dances like Sunny, so everybody else. So, see, see each of these. Can you see okay?
Yeah.
Each of these has light going through it, all connected to the same light source, just like you and I. Just like this little light board here, it's connected to source. And we get to decide how much we want to shine. We get to decide who we want to join with, to shine with. So you all joined with us today. We're happy that that's happened. Because together, we're forming an incredible light together. And you get to join forces with whoever you resonate with. We have that choice. And you see, we're always connected. We just need to decide to flip the switch. And so that said, let's bring the lights up slowly. So when Lynn and I made the decision to go across the country, me on the bicycle and her supporting in the truck, we wanted to really celebrate the heroes. And so there were heroes that formed out of a very tragic event, out of the 9/11 event. And so we want to honor those people as we're rolling across the country. And it's interesting, as I think about this light board, I think about the words that Jesus said. So Jesus said, don't hide your light under a bushel basket, but instead put it high on a lampstand or a music stand, whatever stand you want, for all to see. Because I believe each time we shine our light bright, it illuminates others. It causes them to develop courage within themselves. And Marianne Williamson has some great words, and I quoted her in my book. And so these words were actually spoken by Nelson Mandela when he gave his inaugural address. And I want to just share a part of the words with you. She said this: as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So each time we choose to express our light in a great way, it causes other people to say, if he can do that, I can do that. If she can do that, I can do that. It causes something to illuminate inside us. And so as we were rolling across the country, we wanted to honor the firefighters that came out of 9/11 that we got to see in such a magnificent light. I have never met a firefighter that has been in a bad mood. I don't even know if I've met a firefighter who was ugly. How do they do it? I mean, think about it. Each day they wake up in the morning and, they know they might have to go into a fire and they could lose their life. But they do it anyway. And you see, none of them saw themselves as heroes. They saw themselves as doing their job. So we decided we were going to honor them. So if I can have that slide up. And you see, this whole thing gets back to a natural law, and it's the law of cause and effect. Each time we radiate our light, it affects another. So for every action, there's a reaction. When you smile at someone, it causes them to smile. And so when we can shine our lights bright, it gives a great example to others. Next slide. And so we actually partnered, I guess you would say, with fire departments across the country. And so this gentleman on the left, this is Captain Chris Ketterer of the Phoenix Fire Department, and he helped us to open the doors in fire stations across the nation. And we invited the public to honor the firefighters and other public servants. And it was a symbolic gesture because there were so many people that served in incredible ways after that event. Even in Gilbert we had a group of grade school kids from Playa del Rey that formed a Unity Club. Isn't that cool? A Unity Club. And here's what the Unity Club started out doing. They wrote cards to the firefighters, like we wrote Valentine cards to Joel, just to shed a little light.